Jesus said no man has seen God at any time. This meant that all of the faithful patriarchs, several of them listed in Hebrews 11, did not transition into the presence of God after their biological bodies died. Since they did not have eternal life in them, they could not exist apart from their biological bodies. None of them went into the presence of God or to heaven at death. According to the author to the Hebrews, Moses, Enoch, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, David, and many others all died in faith, not having received the promises, but that they might obtain a better resurrection. It was only through the better resurrection, the promised deliverance from death, which was spoken of by the Sinai covenant prophets, that they would be released from the reign of death. As the author wrote, even King David, a prophet and a type of Christ, had not gone to heaven at death. The Apostle Peter also affirmed that David is not ascended into the heavens. We see the same object lesson throughout the ancient scriptures. For example, when Israel was to receive the Sinai covenant at Sinai, only Moses was allowed up the mountain. If anyone else tried coming up that mountain, they were to be killed. God said, "Take heed to yourselves, that you go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. There shall not an hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned, or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, it shall not live." Notice, the lesson was being taught that man had no access to the presence of God. Earth had no access to heaven. Moses represented Christ, the mediator, so only he was allowed up the mountain, symbolizing only Christ was allowed into the presence of God. As Jesus said, "No man has ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven." While the ancient scripture depicted Elijah caught up into the sky in a chariot of fire, he did not go into heaven, the presence of God. Elijah was a type or symbol of Christ. His ascent into the skies was a symbolic reference, an allegory depicting Jesus ascending into heaven. But Elijah could not enter the presence of God until the resurrection of saints out of Sheol or Hades. This is because Jesus is the resurrection and the life. Elijah could not have the better resurrection spoken of in Hebrews 11:35 until Jesus had resurrected and imparted eternal life to all that are in his name.